On a cold January morning in 2026, the world woke to a headline that seemed unthinkable: Serbia and Belarus formally apply to join BRICS. Newsrooms from London to Washington scrambled to confirm the story. It was no rumor, this was real. The coordinated announcements from Belgrade and Minsk sent shockwaves through European politics. Serbia, once an EU hopeful, and Belarus, Russia's close ally, were now seeking a place in a bloc designed to challenge the West. This wasn't a minor policy shift. It was a seismic event, a crack in the post-Cold War map. The disbelief was palpable. Serbia appeared to turn its back on Brussels, while Belarus doubled down on its alignment with Russia. The move signaled that the West's gravitational pull was no longer absolute even in Europe. For decades, the story was European integration. This move shattered that narrative. It suggested the West's influence was waning, and that Russia and China were building a rival pole of attraction. The timing was deliberate. Amid global tension and economic uncertainty, BRICS was now knocking on Europe's door. Belgrade and Minsk weren't just seeking a new seat, they were helping build a new table. The quiet confidence of the West was shaken, replaced by urgent questions about Europe's future. The world was witnessing a new geopolitical reality: European nations betting their future on a non-Western alliance. The global balance of power was suddenly and dramatically in flux. The BRICS application sent shockwaves through Europe. In Brussels, EU and NATO officials were stunned, then mobilized. Serbia's move felt like a rejection of years of EU investment and guidance. It raised tough questions. Was EU membership still enough to keep countries aligned with the West? For NATO, Serbia's potential alignment with a Russia and China-led bloc was a security risk. Belarus joining BRICS would further entrench the East-West divide. The security architecture of Europe, once thought settled, was now in flux. Ordinary Europeans woke up to a continent that suddenly seemed less united. The event forced a painful re-evaluation. Was the Western model still the world's ultimate goal? Serbia and Belarus's decision showed that some countries were seeking alternatives, drawn by a different kind of international order. The shock wasn't just about two countries, it was about the entire foundation of the post-Cold War era. To grasp the significance, you need to understand BRICS. Originally an investment acronym, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and later South Africa, BRICS became a real political club. Its core goal to promote a multipolar world, challenging Western dominance in global institutions. BRICS created its own bank, the New Development Bank, as an alternative to the World Bank. The group's power lies in its economic and demographic weight, over 40% of the world's population, and a growing share of the global economy. Despite political differences, BRICS members are united by a desire for a greater voice and frustration with the Western-led order. The group's appeal goes beyond economics. It's about sovereignty and non-interference. BRICS presents itself as a partnership of equals, respecting each country's political system. This message is increasingly attractive to nations tired of Western conditions on aid and investment. BRICS is no longer just a symbol, it's a real alternative. BRICS evolved from a simple economic concept into a formidable political alliance. Early skeptics saw it as a talk shop, but the creation of the New Development Bank and Contingent Reserve Arrangement proved otherwise. These institutions gave BRICS real financial muscle and independence from the West. The 2024 expansion, adding Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, was a game-changer. With major oil producers on board, BRICS gained new leverage over global energy markets. The bloc became BRICS, a diverse coalition of the global South. This expansion, led by China and Russia, signaled a new assertive phase. The message: the future doesn't have to be dictated by Washington or Brussels. BRICS offers partnership based on development, not political lectures. Serbia and Belarus now sought to join this emboldened alliance. For Serbia and Belarus, applying to BRICS was a calculated gamble. Serbia felt stuck, caught between EU demands and its ties to Russia. The EU's conditions, especially on Kosovo, were seen as moving goalposts. BRICS offered Serbia new markets, investment, and political independence without super. Barkutau with stau puder now awautis. Ardperdel and Nord-Sattingverdelmender for Belarus, isolated and sanctioned by the West, BRICS was a natural extension of its reliance on Russia. Joining BRICS formalized its place in a non-Western bloc and broadened its support network. Both nations saw BRICS as a club of sovereign states prioritizing development over political conformity. It was a risky move, but for them, it promised sovereignty and a stake in a new global order. The gamble isolation from the West, in exchange for a future with rising powers. The applications from Serbia and Belarus directly challenge the Western order. This order rests on US economic leadership, NATO security, and EU values. Two European countries joining a rival bloc strikes at the heart of all three pillars. Serbia's move is a public rejection of the EU's vision of continental integration. If successful, it could inspire others, undermining the EU's influence in its neighborhood. For NATO, Serbia's alignment with Russia and China is a strategic nightmare, a potential foothold for rivals in Europe. Belarus's move further entrenches a hostile bloc on NATO's eastern border. More broadly, this challenges the idea of universal Western values. BRICS is value-neutral, uniting democracies and autocracies by economic interests and sovereignty. For some, the promise of development and independence now outweighs the lure of liberal democracy. Applying to BRICS is one thing, joining is another. The process is political and opaque. Admission requires consensus from all current members. Russia and China will back Serbia and Belarus, but others may hesitate. India, wary of BRICS becoming too anti-Western, could block the move. Brazil and South Africa may question the strategic value of adding two small European states. The newcomers must prove they're not just using BRICS as leverage with the EU. They'll need to show real commitment to the bloc's goals: multipolarity, economic cooperation, and alternatives to the dollar. The process will involve intense lobbying, negotiations, and likely a period as observers. Success depends on persuading a diverse group that they truly belong. The road ahead is long and uncertain. The inclusion of Serbia and Belarus in BRICS would be symbolically seismic. For the first time, European flags would fly in a bloc built to rival the West. This would shatter the idea of a unified, Western-leaning Europe. For Russia and China, it's a propaganda coup. Proof that their model is attracting even Europe's own. For Serbia, it's a reassertion of its identity as a bridge between East and West. For Belarus, it's a definitive break with the West and embrace of a new alliance. The symbolism could inspire other nations dissatisfied with the Western-led order. If Serbia and Belarus succeed, others may follow, accelerating the shift to a multipolar world. The act is more than changing alliances. It's about changing perceptions and possibilities. The world would see that even Europe is no longer monolithic. The world's reaction was swift and divided. Western capitals responded with anger and threats, reviewing aid, suspending EU accession, and considering sanctions. The message: choosing BRICS means risking isolation from the West. Russia and China celebrated, hailing the move as a historic victory. Other BRICS members, like India and Brazil, were more cautious, wary of the bloc being pulled into Europe's conflicts. The risk for BRICS internal division. Admitting controversial members could expose cracks in the alliance. The debate over Serbia and Belarus is a test. Will BRICS be a broad economic platform or a hard-edged anti-Western bloc? The greatest risk: a new era of global rivalry, with hardened lines between competing blocs. This could undermine cooperation on global issues and increase the risk of proxy conflicts. For Serbia and Belarus, the stakes are high. They're betting their future on a rising bloc, but risking confrontation and isolation. The world is watching to see if this gamble pays off or sparks a new era of division. The map, once thought settled, is changing before our eyes.